A lot of times people let their past mistakes haunt them and allow their past mistakes to define who they are as a person. You make a mistake in the past, now you're starting to question your own value. Maybe not in the past, maybe you made a mistake recently and started to think, man, I'm just not a no good person because of that mistake. Maybe you're subconsciously telling yourself that message, saying that you're a no good person or saying that you're stupid for doing whatever. Well, if you can't forgive yourself, or see the value that you hold inside of yourself, then you can't move forward. And that's going to affect all areas in your life too. It's going to affect on how you treat other people. So this video is about reflecting and rebuilding. Now let's understand how important self-forgiveness is, because that's what we're going to talk about right now. I want to encourage you to forgive yourself like you would forgive anybody else who's done anything wrong in your life. Now, I'm sure there was times in your life where at some point in your life that you've forgiven somebody else because of their past mistake that they made towards you. Now, the problem is that I find that it's hard for most people to practice self-forgiveness because it's easier. It's always much easier to forgive somebody else. And the reason why that is because when you forgive somebody else, you're forgiving them off a mistake that they made. So you forgive that person when it's really not about the person. It's really about yourself. It's about relieving a heavy burden off yourself so you won't go around holding a grudge on somebody else's mistakes. So it seems like it's easier to forgive other people because they're the ones that made that mistake. The hard part about self-forgiveness is that you're forgiving yourself off a mistake that you made. And that's the hard part, but it's a part that you're going to have to get in the habit of practicing if you want to move towards genuine happiness, or if you want to build successful friendships or relationships with anybody. Because if you don't forgive yourself, what's going to happen is that's going to reflect on how you treat other people. It's going to cause you to believe that you don't deserve to have good people in your life. For instance, somebody might want to have a relationship with you, and you might feel like you don't deserve that person, even though that person is of high quality. That person knows how to treat somebody else, knows how to treat them right. But see, you're not going to recognize that because you're so busy putting yourself down and thinking about how awful person you are because of whatever past mistake that you made. And then eventually you're going to end up just pushing that person away. Now, I know because I've been in situations like that before. I've been in relationships before where I've pushed people away. And it's not a good feeling because that's only because I haven't forgiven myself. So that's why I want to encourage you to practice self-forgiveness. So that way, when somebody's treating you good or when somebody gives you a sincere compliment, you're going to fully believe it rather than thinking that person's not telling the truth or thinking that person's just lying or whatnot. Now, aside from self-forgiveness, I want to encourage you to get in the habit of challenging any kind of disempowering beliefs that you had over that past mistake. Your mistakes don't define you. I'm going to say this again. Your mistakes do not define who you are because we're human. When you did whatever it is you did in the past, then you only did the best you could for what you knew at that time. Now, part of challenging disempowering beliefs means you reminding yourself of just that. You're reminding yourself that you are human and that you did do the best you could for what you knew at that time. So then once you understand that, then you start to build more empowering beliefs. You start to understand that you are a person of value. I mean, that one mistake that caused a disaster and whatever it was, that's not you. And it can happen to the best of us. So once you get in the habit of challenging any kind of disempowering beliefs, that means that you're turning that belief around and building more empowering beliefs about who you are as a person. Because oftentimes people let their mistakes, again, question their value. Once they question their value, they have disempowering beliefs about themselves. Now, they done something foolish in a relationship, made a mistake, and it caused the relationship to fall apart. And then now they think of themselves as a foolish person. When in fact that you made a mistake. I mean, it doesn't excuse it, but you have to get in the habit of challenging those disempowering beliefs, because when you let disempowering beliefs overpower you, then it can cause you to feel that much more further down in the dumps. So understand that you are human. Reinforce that belief that you are human and your past mistakes doesn't define you and you're better than this. And that's what it means to have more empowering beliefs. Now, the final thing I want to cover right here means that just reflect on your own value. Reflect on your own value, because everybody has value. I mean, no matter what kind of damage that you've caused or whatever happened to you, you still have value. I mean, a lot of times when people are so down in the dumps, they can't realize their own value. That's only because they're only focusing on why they're down in the first place. So I want to encourage you to focus on what it is you have to offer in this world, because everybody's on this earth for a reason. And that means reflecting on your own value. Now, how do you find that value? How do you find it? All right. Think back to any kind of compliment somebody has paid you in the past, or maybe something that you were known for. I mean, maybe you're known for doing things for people that made somebody else feel good and made you feel good at the same time. Because if somebody's going to compliment you pretty much on the same compliments, you get these compliments from different people, then there's got to be some kind of truth to that. I mean, if you're a person who's known to be a good listener, then think about times when people's told you that, or think about how you made somebody feel as a result of being a good listener. And I use good listener as an example because I'm known for being a good listener. Being a good listener is one of the main parts of who I am as a person. That's what makes me who I am. So that's the value that I have to offer to other people. But your top quality might not be a good listener. I mean, it might be something else. But whatever it is, make sure you find that and understand that and believe it. And once you start believing it, that's not enough to believe it. Just express it. Be that kind of person again. So that way you're expressing who you are as a person. You're expressing yourself, because that's the key to happiness anyway. And it comes down to self-expression. Make sure you express yourself. Your past mistakes don't have to define who you are as a person. You understand that you have value, and you can reflect and you can rebuild from that point. Reflect and rebuild yourself and express more of your value. And that's what it's all about. That's how you get back on track again. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. This I'm going to leave for you for this evening, and have a good rest of your evening.